of the 60s on radio and later on television during the 70s in memory. On this date, July 1st, 1999, we lost Jamaican reggae singer Dennis Brown, who died aged 42. The official cause of his death was collapsed lung. On this date, 2005, we lost Four Tops singer Ronaldo Obi Benson, who died aged 69 in a Detroit hospital from lung cancer. On this date, 2005, we lost American R&B and soul singer-songwriter, record producer Luther Vandross, who died at the age of 54 at the JFK Medical Center in New Jersey, after 2 years after suffering a major stroke. In memory, Luther Vandross, what a loss. On this date, 2008, we lost Whitesnake guitarist Mel Galley, who died at the age of 60 from cancer of the esophagus. And on this date last year, 2020, we lost American musician Max Crook, who died aged 83. A pioneer of electronic music, he was the featured soloist on Del Shannon's 1961 hit Runaway, which he co-wrote and on which he played his own invention, the Musitron, in memory. Moving on, birthdays today. Born this date, 1915, blues singer, guitarist Willie Dixon. Born on this date, 1945, Deborah Harry, American singer, songwriter, and actress with Blondie. And on this date, 1951, born Fred Schneider, singer with the American new wave band, the B-52s. Born on this date, 1952, both Leon Chancellor, drummer percussionist who worked with Herbie Hancock, Miles Davis, and Michael Jackson for Billie Jean. And also born this date, 1952, same day, Dan Aykroyd, actor, Elwood Blues, the Blues Brothers. Born also this date, 1956, Phil Solem, singer-songwriter from the American pop duo The Rembrandts. You may remember them from the Friends TV theme. On this date, July 1st, 1960, born U.S. soul singer Evelyn Champagne King. And born on this date, 1963, Roddy Bottum, keyboards from American rock band Faith No More. Born this date, 1971, both Missy Misdemeanor Elliott and Adam McDougall, keyboardist with the Black Crowes. Happy birthday. Moving on to this day in music history. On July 1st, 1956, Elvis Presley appeared on NBC TV's The Steve Allen Show and performed Hound Dog to a live audience. U.S. TV critic John Crosby panned Elvis's performance, calling him an unspeakable, untalented, and vulgar young entertainer. And on this date, July 1st, 1983, a New Jersey-based quintet calling themselves Bon Jovi signed to Phonogram's Mercury Records, although they had also been considering the name Johnny Electric. The group have since sold over 130 million records worldwide and have performed more than 2,600 concerts in over 50 countries for more than 34 million fans since. What a historic date for Bon Jovi from 1983. That's it for On This Day in Music History. Back over to you, Peter.
Right on. Thanks for that, Eli. Hey, so, a little side note, talking about the Rembrandts. And I was at a party many years ago, and this is probably a few years after Friends came out. Maybe they were in the third season. And we were, it was a bunch of musicians and performers. And I was like, oh, you're a drummer. Okay, great. Yeah, fantastic. And he's like, yeah, I just played with the Rembrandts. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, you must be killing it. Like, you can go buy a yacht. You can go buy a mansion. He's like, yeah, I didn't play on that song. And I was like, oh.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to go and drink. So with that being said, I had the live stream up. Sorry about that. We had some delays here, little technical problems, but we're going. And speaking of going, let's get into the news. This is where we summarize the most essential news in the fast-paced music industry. And I'd also like to thank everybody who is tuning the show in our video live stream. To set the stage for a roundtable conversation, we begin by reading key sections of media pieces. If you'd like to provide commentary on one of our today's topics, feel free to raise the hand to join the stage. And to stay up to date on this and other programming, you can register for free at musicindustrycity.com to obtain access to exclusive content. And with that being said, let's get to it. All right, and this first piece comes from Polestar.com. To access all the information and everything that we cover today and throughout the week, you can go to see the show notes at musicindustrycity.com and click on the show notes graphic. And I just tweaked it so it looks a little nicer and it's more you can navigate it a little easier. I mean, it is a Google Doc, so you can only make it look so nice. But we did add for our morning daily brief podcast, so you can get the links that'll take you to your preferred podcast player for the daily brief, which comes out every 8 a.m. every morning, to with some other tips. Music news that is more about touring, live events, new releases, musical chairs. Sorry, I'm a little stuttering. I'm still trying to get the computer going over here, so bear with me. I'm going to get through this, and now the coffee's kicking on. So I'm just going to start the news here, and this one from Polestar. Mandolin secures $12 million in a Series A funding. Mandolin, the live streaming startup that has just raised $12 million in a Series A funding. The investment was led by 645 Ventures, Foundry Group, and High Alpha Capital, with participation from Mark Benioff's Time Ventures and more traditional venture capital investors like the founders of Mandolin's previous backers. Mandolin specializes in streaming live events for musicians, venues, and fans alike. The company boasts over 1,500 shows streamed via Live Plus, over 305,000 attendees served, and 20% growth year over year since its inception. CEO Mary Kay Hoos commented on the new round of funding, saying, quote, "I'm thrilled to have Namdi join the Mandolin board. His extensive experience in helping early-stage SaaS and consumer tech companies reach the next level will be invaluable as we look to supercharge our growth and make Mandolin Live Plus a household name." All right, we have somewhat of a good update. We've been talking about it, and the shuttered venues grants and the SBA, and how it just hasn't been a smooth rollout. Well, this update from Billboard says that the SBA has delivered $1 billion in shuttered venue grants. A further $1 billion has been approved, but has not yet been deposited in accounts, according to the group. According to the organization, as of June 30th, the Small Business Administration has delivered $1 billion in shuttered venue operator grant funds to the accounts of independent promoters, venues, movie theaters, and others. The SBA informed participants who participated in the daily SVOG stakeholders call that another $1 billion in cash has been awarded to businesses but had not yet been placed into their accounts. After failing to deliver all Priority 1 businesses, those that lost 90% or more of their income in 2020 in the first 14 days of funding, the SBA has witnessed a faster distribution of award notifications in the last 2 weeks. According to this morning's stakeholders call, a total of 2,919 award approval letters have been distributed. Another 2,929 award notices have been scheduled to be distributed. Another 265 applications have received denial notices, with another 1,400 on the way. According to the SBA's grant website, around 27% of the more than 14,600 applications are now being reviewed, with another 21% awaiting consideration. The SBA will also notify approximately 1,600 applicants that technical changes must be made. According to an SVOG stakeholder, these are entities that match the criteria for approval yet have a flaw in their application. An appeals mechanism is also in the works for people who have been denied but believe they are still qualified for the grant. While the process's specifics are still being worked out, it is expected that businesses would have roughly 2 weeks to prepare their arguments. And finally, according to the SBA estimates, $11.6 billion in funding from the more than $16 billion pool has been sought. Finally, I think is what we can say. Lots of cheers. I see Eli in the video behind the scenes here. I can see her in her control room that she was cheering, hands in the air. Eli?
Oh my gosh, let's go funding. Let's go funding. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So yeah, let's get these guys their money. Let's let these owner operators continue to do business in these venues that have been so sandblasted by the last 14 months. Absolutely. This is great news. Let's see the rest of those dollars come out. Let's see the rest of those dollars actually show up in bank accounts and not just be promised or named or earmarked to be awarded. Let's see them actually show up as account balances, and let's see these venues right the ship a little bit. Yes, yes. Hopefully the funding faucet is on now.
Yes. It can't come soon enough. I mean, it's still going to take some time to get out, and that's, what they've been talking about. But this is great news. People can start breathing a sigh of relief. And with that, I also want to just say hi to Thomas Beck, who is in our live stream. He's saying hi from Denmark. And Thomas, he's over at he works in the Roskilde Festival, which unfortunately, was one of the festivals that couldn't go. But I mean, what an amazing festival. And also, he's out there in Roskilde. So, hey, Thomas, and everybody else that is in the green room. How you doing, everybody? So we're going to be doing the after show party for wrap up over in green room. So we're going to get ready for that. But Eli, let's get back to you, because I know this next one, speaking of good news, this is another uplifting story. So I'm going to let you read this one.
All right, absolutely. Now, this was one that it really warms my heart, and so it tickles me to share this with you. This is from Billboard. Ariana Grande is giving away $1 million in free therapy, saying you are worth the effort and time, says the headline. Ariana Grande is planning to give away $1 million worth of free therapy to her fans who can't afford it. The Grammy-winning pop superstar partnered with BetterHelp, an online portal providing direct mental health support, to match those interested with a licensed therapist for 1 free month, which anyone can sign up for at betterhelp.com/Ariana. After the month is up, people will have the option to renew on their own and continue using BetterHelp services while getting 15% off their second month. Thrilled to be working with BetterHelp to give away $1 million of free therapy, Grande announced on Instagram, while acknowledging that therapy should not be for a privileged few, but something everyone has access to. And acknowledging that this doesn't fix our issue in the long run, I really wanted to do this anyway in hopes of inspiring you to dip a toe in, to feel okay asking for help, and to hopefully rid your minds of any sort of self-judgment in doing so. These are Ariana Grande's words. Demi Lovato, Alessia Cara, and others applauded the artist's incredible gift to others after she celebrated her 28th birthday. For Mental Health Awareness Month in May, Grande encouraged asking for help in a set of Instagram slides that also provided information to mental health and substance abuse resources, ranging from postpartum support to the Veterans Crisis Line to Black Mental Health Alliance, the Trevor Project, and more. I so hope that this will be a helpful starting point and that you'll be able to build space for this in your lives and continue, she continued in the caption of her most recent post on the subject. Healing is not linear or easy, but you are worth the effort and time, I promise. Thank you so much to BetterHelp, and I can't wait to do more work together. In July 2018, Ariana Grande opened up to British Vogue about the PTSD she experienced after the May 2017 bombing at her Manchester, England concert, which she recently remembered on its 4th anniversary. This was an incident that killed 22 people and injured nearly 1,000. The No Tears Left to Cry singer also discussed her battle with anxiety, saying, "I've always had anxiety. I've never really spoken about it because I thought everyone had it. But when I got home from the tour, it was the most severe I think it's ever been." More information on this article at billboard.com and also at our website, musicindustry.com, where you can click on the show notes and find this article and all of the articles that we're covering today. And I just want to say, Peter, thanks so much for making time for this article. I really love to see musicians building a community and a network, taking care of each other and reminding ourselves that we do need to be kind to ourselves. After all, let's be real, we don't let our phone battery die. Why would we let our own battery die?
What a profound statement. I like that. Yeah, and when you sent me this article, I was like, absolutely, that's going in the rundown. So, and of course, you get to read it. So this is great. And again, you can find these in the show notes, the links to these articles at musicindustrycity.com. Click on the show notes. All right, and we're going to continue with a theme of doing good. And this is from Billboard as well. This is Venue Pilot returning all ticketing fees to venues through 2021. And if it starts off, the previous 15 months have been a nightmare for independent venue owners as national Independent Venue Association member Justin Cantor and newest co-owner Stephen Severin know all too well. The technology enables venue operators to estimate ticket sales, issue settlement sheets, post limitless holds for events on a dedicated calendar, and serve as the primary ticket for the venue. The software is free for all venues to use, with Venue Pilot earning 75 cents each ticket sold. Cantor claims that all ticketing fees would be returned to venue owners until 2022. The relaunch of Venue Pilot comes at a time when many independent venues are getting their part of the $16 billion in shuttered venue operated grant funding. Those awarded monies are obligated to keep precise records of how the funds were spent for 3 years, something Severin believes Venue Pilot can manage easily. The technology is applicable to venues, promoters, and events, and early adopters include the Winter Jazz Festival in New York and Mean Red Productions, which has offices in both Detroit and New York. As live music returns to venues throughout the country after a year off and businesses begin to hire new employees, Severin, the company's strategic partner, believes that Venue Pilot is a sensible and simple way to get back to work. That's great. Letting the venues keep the ticketing fees. And, I can say I bought my first ticket to a show last week. And I was like, yeah, I'll get the $75 seats. And so I'm like, 2 tickets, $150. I'm like, yeah, there'll be some tax on there. Great. I know what to expect. And then it's like, oh, and I forgot about the $4,000 convenience fee attached to it. Yeah, the one thing I don't miss about live events coming back is Ticketmaster's ridiculous service fees.
That's true, but I am glad to hear that tickets are for sale for an event and that you got one. And I want to quickly take just a moment and say congratulations to the staff at Birdland Jazz Club in Midtown. Tonight is Birdland's grand reopening, and I myself have a ticket, speaking of tickets to live shows. So I think it's so exciting that we can even do that and have an opportunity to pay these fees to online ticketing services. But indeed, it's great to see that some folks are giving back to the venues that desperately need those fees back right now. How wonderful.
Right on.
Congrats to Birdland.
Right on. And sticking with Eli, and I hear Angela's voice. So we're going to go across the pond. Eli, take us there.
All right, we will. We'll take a trip across the pond, but first, I want you to take a quick trip to the bottom of the room where you can check out the hand raise icon. You can tap that icon to join the discussion if there's a headline that you're enjoying that you'd like to talk about with us here in the Music News Power Hour. You can also use the plus sign to ping your friends into the room if you know someone who can contribute to our conversations or might find the Music News Power Hour interesting. We are from the Music Industry City Broadcast Network, and you can visit our website to follow along with our show notes. These are the headlines that we read each day. You can register for free for updates for content both on and off of Clubhouse. And you can find us live on our video stream where you can watch, not just listen, but watch in real time what is happening behind the scenes. Don't forget to visit our website. That is musicindustrycity.com. You can also tap the greenhouse icon at the top of this room to join the club and get updates right here on Clubhouse. Also, follow your moderators. These are the speakers on stage with the green moderator icon, and be sure to follow other commentators as they take the stage and join our discussion. Thanks for joining us right here. Music News Power Hour. We are always here at 12 Eastern. That is noon Eastern each weekday. And right now, we have a flight across the pond to catch. Over to Angela Randall, our UK correspondent, who has more information from Access AA.
Thanks for that, Eli. This one comes from Access AA, cross-party group of 22 MPs call on PM to urgently help live music industry. We've been following this one for the last couple of days and for the last few weeks. 22 MPs from across the political spectrum have joined forces to urge the Prime Minister and government to take steps such as extending VAT relief on ticket revenue and giving live event insurance to assist the UK's live music business in recovering from the pandemic. The MPs have signed a Commons early day motion emphasizing the critical support required by the music sector, which contributed £5.8 billion to the economy before the pandemic. In addition to emphasizing that many freelancers and self-employed workers, who account for roughly 3/4 of the 200,000 in the music industry, have been out of work since March 2020, they stated that approximately 70% of musicians have lost more than 3/4 of their work due to COVID-19 restrictions. MPs have asked Boris Johnson to do the following in their early day motion. First, establish a government-backed insurance scheme to pave the way for live music events to proceed. Next, extend existing government support to match the extension of COVID-19 restrictions. Then ensure parity across UK nations and regions regarding extension of the 100% business rate relief. Then continue the VAT freeze at 5% for cultural tickets beyond September. And lastly, give additional support to freelancers. UK Music Chief Executive Jamie Nyoku Goodwin praised MPs from all political parties' support for the UK music business, saying, quote, "We're keen to play our bit in driving the post-pandemic recovery and want to see live music events return as soon as possible," end quote. Representatives from the Conservative, Labour, Liberal Democrat, Green, Scottish Nationalist, Democrat Unionist, Social Democratic, and Labour parties have all signed the motion. Early day motions are proposed for debate in the House of Commons, but have no set date. We'll keep you posted on this one, of course. And I should also mention that representatives across all of the parties with that many MPs is relatively unusual for a motion. So it does seem as though support for the music industry is across the board and widely recognized as an industry worth supporting. So we'll certainly keep you up to date with that going forward. But for now, this is a step in the right direction, I think. Back to you, Peter.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, it's finally, we joked about it last week. When can we start having some good news from the UK? And we're getting there now. And with that, I'm going to stick to the UK here with nightclubs. And this is from NME saying that nightclubs and music venues to reopen without COVID tests or vaccine passports. According to reports, nightclubs and music venues would be permitted to reopen next month without requiring patrons to do COVID tests or present immunization passports. According to the Evening Standard, Michael Gove is leading an investigation into reopening clubs on July 19th, believing that testing will be, quote, too much hassle for both the public and businesses. According to a government source, quote, "We are increasingly confident that people are protected and the plan is to reopen everything with no exceptions." Leading figures in the nighttime sector, notably Nighttimes Industries Association CEO Michael Kill, have praised the move. The decision was made in response to the success of England's COVID immunization program, as well as test events to determine the safe reopening of live music venues. Only 28 of the 58,000 people who attended pilot events to study the impact of large-scale events during the coronavirus epidemic tested positive for the virus, according to the data released last week. The announcement comes after industry leaders chastised the government for neglecting to provide insurance for festivals, which would help get live entertainment back on its feet safely. Last week, festivals like Truck and Kendall Calling announced the cancellation of their July events due to the government's delay in lifting lockdown restrictions, a lack of available statistics, and a general lack of advice. However, as part of the government's event research program, both Latitude Festival and Tramlines will take place at full capacity next month. So things are starting to look up, and hopefully it'll be back out soon. And there were rumors that it would be July 6th, maybe that, Angela, have you heard any more of those rumors that July 6th might be an opening date?
Well, I've heard the same. I've heard it on one side of the spectrum and the other. They're saying that July 6th may be a date that they're looking for, but then they keep listing all of these cases that have been rising in some parts of Scotland and some parts of the north. And notoriously, they won't open things across the entire country until everybody can participate, save for a few small pockets here and there. Fingers crossed that it does happen sooner rather than later, but I can't say I'm optimistic in fairness.
Yeah, and so we'll keep everybody updated on that. Let's get over to the technology block, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Bear with me. There's 3 of them in a row, and they all tie together, but we are going to talk about the NFT. And this one is JayZ and Jack Dorsey-owned music streaming service could feature NFTs and smart contracts. JayZ and Jack Dorsey have hinted that their music streaming service Tidal may be considering NFT and smart contract integrations. The duo underlined the necessity of providing features that empower artists utilizing the platform during a conference hosted on Twitter Spaces on Monday, citing smart contracts, NFTs, and analytic tools as examples. Despite Tidal trailing top music streaming services in revenue, Tidal's $166 million in revenue in 2019 pales in comparison to Apple's $2.8 billion and Spotify's $7.44 billion, respectively. Dorsey and JayZ believe that they can capture significant market share by using blockchain technologies to provide empowering tools to artists. Dorsey goes on to say, quote, "What really dawned on me was how weak some of the tool sets are for artists with analytics and data to understand what they're doing and help them inform their decisions, especially in considering other revenue streams like merchandise and touring and NFTs." Dorsey also discussed the possibility of introducing revenue streams such as NFTs, indicating that anything that might help artists shine is open for discussion. And just as a reminder, Square purchased a majority stake in Tidal for $300 million in March. So how does this tie together? Well, after that article came out, the day after this article came out, and it's titled "Twitter is making NFT now," apparently. According to a Twitter post that said, quote, "I've stopped moisturizing because tweeting about NFTs is keeping me young." This is kind of a predicted that after Twitter's co-founder and CEO Jack Dorsey sold his first tweet as an NFT earlier this year through a website called Valuables by Cent, which is unrelated to Twitter but allows users to manufacture and sell tweet-based NFTs. However, with large platforms such as Twitter producing NFTs, the fad may not be dead just yet. Or that Twitter may be testing the waters to see how its user base reacts to a spontaneous free NFT drop before increasing its services in the field. The catch with today's Twitter NFT drop is that no one can buy them. Twitter users can reply to the tweet for a chance to win one of 7 NFTs, which were minted in editions of 20 on Rarible, the NFT marketplace, for a total of 140 NFTs. And according to Twitter, there have been over 29 million tweets on NFTs on the network. We're going to tie it all together. Katy Perry launches new range of NFTs around Las Vegas residency. I am a Katy fan. I love Katy. Guilty pleasure. Nah. I just love Katy. Katy has released her first set of NFTs based on her upcoming residency in Las Vegas. This December, the singer will begin her play residency at the new Resorts World Casino in Las Vegas, which includes a 5,000-seat arena. The NFTs are in collaboration with the Theta Network, in which Perry also has a minority ownership. There is no information on how the NFTs will be packaged, but fans can sign up to be notified when they go on sale. She said, quote, "I'm both excited and curious to be launching my first ever NFTs later this year with the Theta Network. This is a new, unique opportunity to connect with my fans around the world, even if they aren't with me in Las Vegas." Just as a note, the NFT sales of cryptocurrency assets, which verify ownership of digital content, have already been taking the industry by storm this year, with Kings of Leon, Aphex Twin, and Gorillaz all selling NFTs. Even Calvin Harris has praised the continuing NFT mania, stating it has the potential to, quote, "totally revolutionize the music industry." And finally, A Tribe Called Quest even revealed plans to sell a piece of their song royalties as an NFT. And that's it. I'm going to stop saying NFT now. I see Eli laughing.
The Tribe got in on it too. A step too far for me. A step too far.
We've been nufted for the day.
I kind of wanted to just tear the Band-Aid off because I could have broken these NFT articles out over the next, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, but I just wanted to do it all one swift rip of the Band-Aid. So you're welcome, everybody. With that, let's talk about Instagram. And Instagram, we have 2 articles here. And again, Instagram is doing a lot of changes, and we talk about this, how to keep on top of what's going on in these social media platforms as they change. And especially as a musician, as a marketer, they're offering great services, but to be able to learn them, it's tough. It's a challenge. It's time consuming. And hopefully we're helping people out just by giving you the brief of everything here. And this one is from gizmodo.com. And once again, you can follow along all the articles in our show notes. Just go to musicindustrycity.com, click on the show notes graphic, And you can see all of that along with links to the podcast, which is our daily brief. Also, our Spotify playlists, which we update every week from the Spotify shout out room that we do here, the music, Good Day Music World room at 11 a.m. Eastern here on Clubhouse. And you get to shout out an artist. We add them to the playlist. And then we do, Martina does the pick of the week. So also make sure while you're at musicindustrycity.com, if you want to click that sign up button, it's free. And then you'll get the emails with all that other information and access to other exclusive content. With that, Instagram is pivoting to video. Instagram, like so many other media companies, is preparing to embrace video as its primary content format, according to the platform's CEO, Adam Mosseri. TikTok and YouTube have found explosive success with influencer-driven video content, and they've emerged as serious competitors for Instagram, siphoning away eyes with the very type of content that Instagram is already known for elevating. In response, Mosseri stated that Instagram intends to deploy many freshly developed initiatives to stay relevant, including experimenting with recommending full-screen videos in users' feeds, including those from accounts they do not presently follow. Goes on to say, quote, "We're also going to be experimenting with how we embrace video more broadly, full screen, immersive, entertaining, mobile first video. You'll see us do a number of things or experiment with a number of things in this space over the coming months." Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, has been anticipating such changes for months. In August 2020, the platform debuted Reels, a short-form video tool that allows Instagram users to produce videos with superimposed audio, similar to what TikTok has been doing. All right. Well, now that Instagram is it's like, what is Instagram going to be? Let's talk about what else they're adding. And this one is Instagram is developing its own version of Twitter's super follow with exclusive stories. You see a pattern here? Both articles like Instagram is doing this that another company's doing, which is
And didn't they both steal that from dating apps?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's nothing original. It's just how it is. And, is it going to make things more confusing? Or is it going to lose the thread? That's the challenge of when they start branching out in this. I mean, does anybody watch IGTV? Is that a rhetorical question, I guess? I don't know. Let's talk about this one. This is Instagram is developing its own version of Twitter Superfollow with exclusive stories. And this is a feature that will allow online producers to publish exclusive content to their Instagram stories that would be viewable only to their fans, access that would most likely require some time of monthly charge. Instagram said the screenshots of the feature that have already lately emerged on social media are from an internal prototype that is currently in development but is not yet being tested publicly. The company declined to reveal any specifics about its ambitions, stating that they are not yet in a position to discuss this initiative. The screenshots, on the other hand, reveal a lot about Instagram's thinking, as they show a mechanism for creators to upload what are known as, quote, exclusive stories to their accounts, which are denoted by a different color. The stories, it appears, cannot be screenshotted, but they can be shared as highlights. A new prompt asks artists to save this to a highlight for your fans, saying that doing so ensures that fans always have something to see when they join. He noted that the third segment is focused on revenue share, like with IGTV long-form video and short-form video such as Reels. Finally, the membership model, pioneered by platforms such as OnlyFans and Patreon, has recently made its way onto a number of prominent social networks as the creator economy has grown.
Nope, I'm not a fan of this. I'm just going to chime in early and say that they will lose me. As soon as Facebook started to put revenue in front of a good user experience, despite the fact that they're making a shed load of money, it doesn't feel like they're hurting and need to make more. This sounds like a thing that influencers are asking for because they want some kind of way to make additional money the way that they do on Patreon and OnlyFans, but they want to do it direct through Instagram, and I think it's gross. That's just my opinion.
I mean, if they lose it, go on, Eli.
I was just going to echo that. The social media experience is a social experience. Is it a paywall experience? Should it be a paywall experience? Is it different from a paywall experience like Patreon or OnlyFans? Lots of questions, and I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose the thread, are you going to lose the audience? And one of the things that was said in here is they will start showing you from accounts that you don't follow. So if you go to Instagram, and like LinkedIn is terrible at this. I honestly, I just can't deal with LinkedIn in that sense of seeing somebody that I barely know that I just happen to be connected with liked an article from somebody that is my seventh, degrees of Kevin Bacon. And I have no desire about anything to do with, healthcare. I mean, I'm not on LinkedIn to connect with people in the healthcare industry. Okay. I'm in music. So, but that's what I'm seeing. And it's every other post are these people that I'm like, these aren't people I'm following. I don't care. I'm just connected. Now, Facebook also had the same thing. But now you look at Instagram and every third post, every third post is a sponsored ad? So now it's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Where are they going to fit in somebody else's post that I'm not following, that I don't care to follow? And, so it's going to be like, oh, I get to see one person. I get to follow Eli, but I won't see anything from Angela.
And at what point does it stop being a news feed and just start being an ad feed?
Right. Because it's for trying to, it's either an ad, it's a sponsored ad, so people are paying, Instagram's making money. The other is other people trying to make money. Now, for those people that are trying to make money, it's good because you need to be up there for people to get there. So I mean, it's tough. I mean, this is, for people on all technology. I mean, is VR already talking about being ruined in the Oculus, where Facebook is testing out advertising in games because they bought a gaming company, a game developing company. So they're going to put ads in games. They're going to put ads in your home screen, your home, whatever you want to call it, your virtual lounge. You can already have Messenger go in there. You can already connect your, like VR is for, I want to be in a virtual reality. I want to be out of reality. I don't want to be staring at ads. But the biggest complaint over there, and I'll get off this tangent in a second. The biggest issue there is they're talking about, well, people are paying $300 for an Oculus headset and are buying games. So you're already spending money on the hardware. You're already spending money on the software. Now you want to put ads in there. And that is the difference. Because Facebook is free. The platform is free for us to use. It's done a lot of great things for us in this world. And understand, yes, it has to make money. But, at what point did it become too much? And that's something to think about. We'll move on. Let's move on to the next.
Deep thoughts.
Deep thoughts, yeah. We have just 2 more articles left. This one's a little more fun. This is, and again, you can check out this article link to go find this. It's on The Verge. It's theverge.com. This is a music widget, brings back the original Mac OS X iTunes widget. Apple introduced the Mac OS X Tiger in 2005, along with the first implementation of widgets on the Mac via its dashboard app. One of those widgets was now a defunct iTunes media player, but due to the work of coder Mario Guzman, who constructed an exact clone of the widget for modern Macs. You may listen to music in classic OS X style once more. The new music widget, ironically, is not a widget, at least not in the current manner of widgets introduced in last year's macOS Big Sur, but rather a standalone app that resembles the look of the original iTunes widget from 2005. The software is completely functioning and includes all of the same controls as the original. The music widget only works with the Apple Music app. It does not work with Spotify or other music apps. And you can check out the music widget, which is currently in beta and can be downloaded from free from Guzman's website. This ties in. Last week we discussed the old iPod that you could, the iPod, you could play the music on the iPod on your Mac. And now we have this. I love this. This was so adorable. I love this player. I remember that when it first came out, you can just stick it up in the corner and everything. It was great.
Not
I
all
want to
heroes wear capes, and this hero today is Mario Guzman. Well done, man.
Yay. And I want to invite everyone who is listening to go ahead and visit our website where you can take a look at this player by clicking on the show notes link and linking to this article. I really invite you, I really encourage you to visit our website and check it out because it's making me feel all nostalgic and warm and fuzzy inside to see the image of this widget. So please do check it out just so you get that warm fuzzy widget feeling too. This is great news and I'm grinning from ear to ear. This makes me feel like a kid who just found an old picture book that was their favorite as a child.
I mean, and we joked about last week where, I think I have 3 iPods and they're like time capsules of music. So, by doing this, like, oh, let me go play that, whatever I was listening to in 2005. I mean, it's like, what was that? Like Vampire Weekend's first album or something? Or was that even later? It's all time is an illusion right now. And with that being said, Eli.
Still 2005?
No, I wish. 2005 was a fun year. I remember that. So with that being said, Eli, stick around because
Big green dot hits the spot.
The big green dot, it does hit the spot. It's time for our Spotify Spot portion of our broadcast where we look at digital streaming technology and music. But first, before we do that, we want to check in with your weather update for our listeners around the globe. Be aware as temperatures are rising that you may be looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Over to you, Peter, now for the Spotify Spot.
Well, especially for the people over on the West Coast that have been going through that heat wave. So hopefully that's all being cured up. All right, let me pull up this article. I had a last minute change, so I apologize here. I'm going to pull up this. This is from 9 to 5 Mac here because there were 2 Spotify articles that I wanted to talk about. We're going to talk about the other one tomorrow. But this one was Spotify may move into virtual and live concerts as a way to differentiate from Apple Music. I just start off by saying, go figure, they're going to get into live music. Spotify has been experimenting with in-app paid virtual concerts for the past 2 months. According to a new report from The Information, the streaming service is considering expanding its virtual event offerings as well as real events. If successful, the plan might provide Spotify with a new revenue stream, better artist relationships, and a means to set itself apart from Apple Music. Spotify is exploring a substantial push into the events market, according to sources close to the situation, and would leverage the rich data from its platform to help artists plan and host virtual and maybe live concerts. Spotify charged $15 per ticket for its latest tiny virtual concerts in May and June. And according to the article, Spotify is considering continuing to sell tickets for future concerts, which would provide a fresh source of money for its streaming company, which is known for its razor-thin margins. Following its almost billion-dollar expansion into podcasting, the move might help Spotify diversify its earnings beyond what is now has to share with the music companies if the company takes off in the long run. However, the financial impact in the medium term is likely to be minor, as Spotify does not intend to compete with the major events industry behemoths such as Live Nation or AEG, according to the sources. Apple, going back a little history, used to organize a live yearly iTunes Music Festival, which was renamed to Apple Music Festival before being canceled in 2017 after a 10-year run. And also, just as a side note, Spotify is getting closer to launching its High Five service. So that's it. That's for the reads for today. And thank you, Elliot, for also sending this one over, bringing it to my attention to make sure that we get this into the news. And as I've been saying forever, Spotify is not a music streaming platform. It's an entertainment service now. And we're going to see a lot of these things roll out over time. And, with Green Room, podcasts, music, there's a lot. And tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more about that with Spotify and the discovery mode. And that's, because indie labels don't like it, but there are a lot of DIY giants that really do like what people have been calling payola for discovery mode. So there will be join us for that conversation tomorrow and for the week in review. And with that being said, let's head over to Eli. Angela, any thoughts on today's topics?
Yeah, I mean, that last one, I've got my fingers crossed. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I've got my fingers crossed that maybe, considering they've said they're not going to be competing with Live Nation and AEG, maybe they're going to be sort of making it up to the mid-level artists, the ones that aren't in the top 1%, or the ones that aren't getting much traction at all, but the ones that are keeping Spotify full of users, and maybe they're going to reach out to them and maybe do some smaller tours, or put some events on bigger festivals that feature all those artists, so that it's not just the big guys that are getting that extra sort of help, but that could be a new way of featuring artists that are on certain playlists, or that really get things moving but aren't in the top 1%. It might be interesting to see if they can support them in that way.
Well, with that, going along that lines of talking about Live Nation and AEG, when this announcement broke yesterday, Live Nation dropped 0.9%, almost dropped an entire percent. So saying Live Nation Entertainment was quickly sold off once the information reported that Spotify was mulling an entry into the events business. So Live Nation dropped nearly a percentage point. Spotify went up 0.7. I mean, talk about moving a market with some kind of announcement. I mean, that's showing a lot of faith in and concern against Live Nation. And, it doesn't say what AEG did, but, because AEG is a little bit, it's in a different, somewhat different than like Live Nation. I mean, this could probably be a direct to Live Nation, or maybe a potential partnership or something. You never know, but it'll be interesting to watch. I mean, it moved the market.
Yeah, and that kind of an impact is something you want to see. I mean, two big companies sort of controlling everything doesn't fly for me. I like to have a little bit more competition, especially with different tier levels, so that it's not always a shutout for people that aren't mega huge artists.
I mean, are you saying go on?
I was just going to say, is this the big green dot trying to take over the big blue planet? What's happening? These are interesting articles, and I'm interested to see the article that we'll be covering tomorrow as well. That headline is also interesting to me. I think that Spotify definitely deserves a spot in our broadcast. I'm glad we have this space for discussion, and don't forget, you can chime in the chat if you have a comment, or raise your hand too.
Right on. And with that being said, if we're going to head over to Green Room just shortly for the after show party for a roundtable discussion. Hang out there for a few minutes. I want to say hi to everybody there, and also hi to everybody that is tuning in the live stream. What's going on, everybody? We're going to start wrapping up here. Final thoughts, Eli.
I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are here Monday through Friday at noon Eastern. That's 12 p.m. Eastern every weekday. And thank you so much for being part of our discussion and part of our broadcast. We try to cover all the music news headlines that you care to listen to and discuss right here, presented by the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. So don't forget, you can visit our website to follow along with our headlines as we read them, to register for free and get all kinds of fascinating and important updates from Music Industry City. But you can also visit Music Industry City to watch us in the live stream. And once again, hi to everybody watching us on the live stream. I'm so glad that you could tune in and be with us. We hope to see you here again tomorrow. We will be having our week in review, where we look at all the headlines we discussed during the week. So make sure that you check out our website, review some of our fascinating headlines from this past week, and join us tomorrow as we discuss those headlines in just a little bit more depth right here at the Music News Power Hour. Music News at noon, all the news that you care to listen to and discuss from the Music Industry City Broadcast Network. Thanks so much for joining us on behalf of myself, Eli Window, and our UK correspondent, Angela Randall. We're so glad to see you.
It's not Eli Randall.
Well, it could be. Angela didn't ask me to marry her, and I'm not sure exactly how that works I don't know. We'll have to talk about it off air.
Yeah, you have to hyphenate it.
Watch this space.
All right. And that'll be in the Week in Review, tomorrow's news. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. And check out musicindustrycity.com. Make sure you follow us also on our Instagram, because as we were talking about Instagram, you're going to see a lot more content coming out there. But, register, right? It's free at musicindustrycity.com. I mean, when you go to that page right now, if you're not logged in, it doesn't look that nice. It actually looks a lot nicer once you register and sign in. all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is different. So yeah, it's like going behind opening up the door. And it's like, oh, this is cool. And there's a lot going on. The daily podcast, you can show up every morning at musicindustrycity.com. Like if you just, when you wake up in the morning, go to musicindustrycity.com. It's like, there's the daily brief. You don't even have to go to your podcast player. You can go right there. You can see the blog post. You can see link to the articles. There's going to be a lot more coming. I can't even talk about it. It's like so much coming in over the next quarter. I'm really excited for it. And Eli, I know like you're smiling, so
I was just going to say, watch that space too.
Yeah.
We'll be watching all of these spaces and more.
All right, let's head over to Green Room. Let's say have our after show party in Green Room, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a great day.
Cheerio, Angela. It's great to see you, everyone. I hope you have an awesome day today. Happy July, and we'll see you tomorrow.